Hey everyone, it's Aaron's, and welcome back to another Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee news and information video. We have a lot to cover today, so let's just dive right in. Before we get started, if you haven't had a chance to head over to a GameStop in America and get a download card for Zeraora, you might want to do that. If you don't get the chance or you don't want to head over to GameStop, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and comment on this video and I will go ahead and send you a code. I got a ton of them. I also have a ton for the Shiny Pokeball as well as the Groudon and Kyogre cards. So go ahead and let me know if you weren't able to get a hold of any of those and I will hook you up. They don't expire until the end of the year. So before I jump into this video, I have a huge PSA. I just did a ton of research and found out that you don't need 2 copies of the same game to play different accounts. It is not like the 3DS. The Switch is completely different. There's been a lot of debate about this and a lot of questions, and I've asked and asked and asked and finally found out that the game cards are not read and write. It's not like the Pokemon Company came up with a new card for the Switch. They are read only, which means that your data is still going to your SD card or to the Switch itself, which means that as long as you have different Nintendo accounts, you can play the game with different save files. I questioned it because I almost bought 2 copies of the game, and instead I reverted one of my pre-orders to an extra Pokeball Plus, because why not? And I was questioning it because I was going to soft restart for a shiny starter or partner on one copy and then, you know, play the game on the other copy while I was waiting for the shiny. But I didn't need to do that, so just wanted to let you know before you went out and bought 2 copies of Let's Go Pikachu. If you're going to buy 2 copies, I would suggest doing Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee for the other copy, but otherwise it's completely unnecessary and forget about it. Next up on the list is handheld catching. So I tried so hard to figure this one out and it took forever, and it wasn't until I found this clip that I found out that you throw the ball by kind of jerking your system in your hand in handheld mode, and that's how you catch Pokemon. Because for the longest time I was like, how are they going to do this? You're going to press A? Is it going to be like a reaction command? But no, you actually motion control your entire system to catch the Pokemon. Just wanted to get that fact out of the way because it was on my mind for months. Another thing we learned from the Treehouse, from the Nintendo Direct last week, is that Meows doesn't talk in Team Rocket. They treated him just like they did in the Pokemon Yellow game, which is he's just a regular Pokemon. In this clip you can kind of hear him meowing, like his normal Pokemon cry, and there is no input of dialogue for him, which is a big disappointment for me.
Team Rocket. Jesse and James. Of course, one of the great things about Pokemon Let's Go is the way that it incorporates the character.
I'm a huge Meows fan. I loved him in the animes. He was just so diabolical but still had a heart, and his accent was hilarious, and the fact that they don't even have him talking in text form is a little disappointing. So another really cool thing is the following Pokemon feature. That's been shown. It's one of the main things that people are excited about ever since these games were announced months back. Another cool feature are the Pokemon Partner features, which I'm going to go over. The first one is your Pokemon get different hairdos. It's a really cool feature that they added for this game. If you pet your partner Pokemon's hair in a very specific way, it will create a hairdo. I don't know if they're going to keep that the same in the final release, but that's what has been spoken of in interviews recently. Another really cool returning feature is you can change the clothes of your trainer, which was shown in this, well, it's been shown in a couple trailers, but it was shown last week specifically how it works, and you can change your clothes wherever. You don't have to find a changing room like they did in previous Pokemon games. And you could also dress up your partner Pokemon, which is kind of cute. You can actually have matching outfits, which I thought was adorable. I don't know if I'm going to use that feature. I've always thought the idea of Pokemon dressing up is a little funny, but who knows, I may dress up my Pikachu. I have no idea. Another really cool feature that they decided to X-nay is the HMs, which a lot of us were cheering about because some old school Pokemon gamers like myself had trouble with HMs and the move deleter and having the hassle of not having that Pokemon in your party and being stuck on an island or being stuck on the other side of a cut fence. which is kind of annoying. I personally didn't mind the old mechanics. I get why everybody doesn't like them. I found them very inconvenient, but it wasn't something that I absolutely hated. It was just a feature that you couldn't exactly change, and that's fine. But what they've done in the Let's Go games is they've replaced the HMs with these hidden specific techniques that your partner Pokemon will learn, like the flying with the balloons, or you know, the cutting ability or the surfing Pikachu. It's going to be really interesting to see if those mechanics stay the same for both of your partner Pokemon, because we haven't seen a clip of Eevee surfing yet, and we haven't seen a clip of Pikachu flying in the balloons. I mean, we have, but not in the Let's Go games. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I know I dedicated a huge video to this, and if you haven't seen it, the link will be in the description and at the end of the video during the end card, and that is the shiny speculation. So I'm just going to touch briefly on that in this video. You will be able to see shiny Pokemon in the overworld, and they'll have a rainbow aura. However, the specifics as well as my speculation are in that other video, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. So another cool feature that they added for these games are features that they've had in previous Pokemon games, and that is the ability to trade locally and on the internet with people that you know, as well as battle. However, Wonder Trade is gone, and trading people that you don't know is gone. So random battles and random trading, they don't exist anymore. So this is a big feature that was announced with this game. I know that the Pokemon Company has tried it in previous games, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but not to the same effect, and that is the Pokeball Plus. So I'm going to very quickly go over some of the features of the Pokeball Plus, which is the accessory that is being announced for these games. I clearly don't have one, but I'm going to use it as a visual rhetoric to kind of help you guys understand how it's going to work. So the middle Pokeball button here is going to be a joystick, as well as the A button, and then the B button is going to be at the very top. So you'll use this to open up your menus and say yes to stuff. You'll use this to go, oh crap, no, never mind. This image will give you a better idea of how it all works. There will be a strap for your wrist, as well as a insert for your finger, kind of like a ring, to give you added support so you don't end up chucking a ball into your TV screen. Granted, if your TV screen's like mine, it probably won't do a whole lot of damage, but that's, you know, who wants to do that to their TV? And the ball, of course, is going to work just like any other controller, so it will need to be charged. The charge compartments are going to be in the back, and it is going to be charged using a USB-C cord, just like your Switch. However, I'm getting one of these nifty wireless chargers. I ordered one off Amazon to arrive on the day the game came out. If you are interested in something like that, I'll pop a link in the description. But that's not the most interesting feature. The most interesting feature is it can also be used as a Go Plus. And if you've ever used one of those, the Go Plus will vibrate and light up with a color whenever you pass a Pokemon or a Pokestop. If it's a stop, it's blue. If it's a Pokemon, it's green. And I believe if it's a new Pokemon you've never seen before, it's yellow. And if you press the button, you can spin the stop, or you can catch the Pokemon. And if it blinks red at you, it means that it didn't catch it or it didn't spin the stop. And you only get one chance with one ball. You do not get to use a berry, and you do not get to rethrow. So whatever it is you didn't catch, you don't get. However, the Pokeball Plus adds an interesting feature to it, because not only does it do all of the same things, but when you catch a Pokemon, the Pokemon sound will be in the ball. It will vibrate like you actually caught the Pokemon and they're inside of it, and it will vibrate based on the Pokemon trying to be caught. But the best thing about this new feature is if you put a Pokemon in it and walk with it to get special items in the Let's Go games, you'll not only get that as a bonus, but also if there is a Pokemon in it and you're walking around with that Pokemon, it will automatically spin stops for you. You do not have to press the button, it will not even vibrate, it'll spin the stops for you, as long as there's a Pokemon inside of it. So there was a news and information video about the Let's Go games that I watched about 2 months ago that kind of freaked me out, because they were talking about there only being 3 stats, which is absurd. And another video talking about how they want to keep it close to the original games as possible, which is why there's no eggs, there's no breeding mechanics, and that the stats are going to be the same as in the original games, which I just thought was terrible. But luckily, thanks to a video that we got last week, we now have this. So this video basically shows us that we can hunt for specific natures by paying for them. There's an NPC in Celadon City at the Pokemon Center that allows you to pay for a specific nature that you want. It asks you a series of questions, basically asking what you want more of and what you don't want of. And this confirms that there are definitely the normal amount of stats considering all natures are able to be hunted for a set period of time, which they didn't tell us because they didn't want to ruin it. But I just think that this feature is amazing because we no longer have to go out hunting with our Abra and try to get a Pokemon with a specific nature. It kind of makes it a little bit more convenient for us, which is crazy. It almost seems like the Pokemon Company, as much as they're adding features, they're also trying to find a way to make older features that people found tedious more streamlined. So that way there's a lot to these games that we can tackle at once without having to waste so much time on all of it. Which I personally like. I think that this feature is going to add a whole nother layer to the future of the Pokemon games. I just think it's a great idea. So we've seen over the last couple months that there are mini-games. Not only are there mini-games that are replacing the gambling system in Celadon City, but there are also mini-games that will be in the Pal Park, which is the replacement of the Safari Zone. So that actually takes a whole nother segment out of the game. There is no Safari Zone. It's replaced with the Go Park, which is essentially the way of transferring your Pokemon from the Let's Go games into your Switch into Let's Go. It does not go two ways, so keep that in mind. But when a Pokemon is transferred into the Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee games, you have to re-catch them. So also keep in mind that if you are at a very low level and you don't have the capability to catch Pokemon efficiently in the Let's Go games, you probably won't be able to catch your super high CP shiny Gyarados that you've transferred over. So just be careful. So an added minigame, one that's been highlighted in the Treehouse video from last week, is the ability to wrangle up Pokemon to get extra candy. And they showed it in this video by the lady trying to catch 25 Meltans. So if you have 25 of any given Pokemon, it turns the Pal Park features into a mini game where you can get extra candy. Which leads me to my next point. If you transfer a Pokemon in the Let's Go games, you don't get candy to evolve your Pokemon because they level up using the traditional level up system. Instead, what you get is candy to improve the stats of your Pokemon. So there is no IV EV training in this game at all. Instead, it's replaced with this candy feature. So there are no abilities in this game, which is kind of weird, but the original games didn't have abilities, so it makes sense. Another feature of your partner Pokemon is they do not evolve. However, do not freak out. You can catch a wild Pikachu and 3 Eevees to get those 4 evolutions to complete your Pokedex. That's not a big deal. Another cool feature, a lot of people are kind of weirded out by it, but I think it's kind of cool, is the Alolan forms. And something that's been really interesting that I found in recent trailers and videos is that there will be Pokemon throughout the region that you can actually trade to get these Alolan forms. And if you don't want to have to do that, most of them, I think all of them, are available in the Pokemon Go games. So you can always transfer them in from your Pokemon Go game. Another thing that has been talked about is the fishing mechanic. So the fishing mechanic is actually going to change, and it's going to most likely be motion censored. So the biggest cry of relief that any gamer in the Pokemon world could ever ask for is the storage. So in past games, it was irksome having to clean out your items because you ran out of space. You'd be in the middle of a route or forest or a cave, and you'd see a Pokeball and you're like, oh my god, what item is this going to be? And it was so exciting to figure out what it was, only to find that your item storage is full. And you'd have to go to the PC and put some items away, or you'd have to toss some items or use some items last minute that you didn't want to use, aka like all of those stacked calciums and rare candies and stuff. They've gotten rid of that feature in the Let's Go games. Now, not only will you be able to carry tons and tons and tons of items, but also your Pokemon PC is in your bag. You have a Pokemon box now. You don't have a PC. You can access all of your Pokemon that you ever caught anytime you want. You think about that. So a big part of any Pokemon game are the version exclusives. And Let's Go, and with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, it isn't any different. In this game, so far, 3 version exclusives for each game have been announced. So they've changed it up quite a bit from the red, blue, and yellow games, as well as the fire red and leaf green games. So in Let's Go Pikachu, you'll be able to catch an Oddish, a Sandshrew, and a Growlithe. And in the Let's Go Eevee game, you'll be able to catch a Bellsprout, Vulpix, and Meowth. And I was just talking about Meowth being one of my favorite Pokemon, and I can't even catch him. That's fine, I guess I'll have to transfer one over for my Go game. There's one more thing that I want to touch base on before I get into the speculation side of this video, and that is experience. So a lot of people are freaked out because there are no random encounters that are Pokemon battles. The only Pokemon battles that are in the game are Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, and Mewtwo. Every other encounter battle that isn't a trainer battle with a wild Pokemon is a game of catch, and a lot of people are kind of bummed about that. I can understand that because the fun of catching a Pokemon was weakening at first back in the old days, and I don't care what game mechanics have changed on these newer generations, I still think that the mechanic could work, but that's fine, we'll just deal with it, right? That being said, how does experience work? Well, you still get experience for catching Pokemon, and if you have experience share, your entire party gets experience for catching that Pokemon as well. I do believe trainer rebattles is going to be a thing, and then we just got announced that the Master Trainers is a thing too, for all 151 Pokemon, which is a showdown to the death, and you take your Pokemon into the battle. All of these Pokemon are going to be level 75. You cannot use items to defeat them, and they know moves specifically able to target their own type, because those are the types that you'll be battling them with. Once you beat those trainers, you become the master of that Pokemon, and presumably if you beat all 151, you become a Pokemon Master, which is awesome. But what else is planned for Endgame? So this is where we start to get into the speculation side of my video. So are we going to be able to visit the Orange Islands like in the anime, or there are going to be regions of Kanto that we've never before seen? Another really interesting question on my mind is, where is this timeline? Are we going to be coexisting with Fire Red and Leaf Green, or Red, Blue, and Yellow? Are we going to run into Red or Blue, or Ash and Gary? How's this all going to work? Another thing that they haven't even announced are the last 4 gyms. Who are the gym leaders? What's the Elite Four going to be like? There's so much of this game that they still haven't announced, and I think it's for a very specific reason, because they've shown us quite a bit of the games. We know who the first 4 gym leaders are. We just got a glimpse at what Lavender Town is going to look like. There are still 4 gym leaders that we haven't seen, and there are aspects of the story that are yet to be revealed. But there was a Poke YouTuber who was able to go into Vermilion City. They were invited directly to the Pokemon headquarters, and they were allowed to walk through Vermilion City just to look at it. They weren't allowed to go into any building, and they were not allowed to talk to any NPCs. And the excuse that Nintendo gave them, or the Pokemon Company gave them, is that it would ruin aspects and elements of the story. And it makes sense, because if you think about it, they've only shown up to Gym 4. And in Gym 3 is probably where the story is starting to get a little heavier, starting to get more exposed. And especially in Cerulean City is probably where it's going to start, or at least from your first interaction with Team Rocket. And those aspects of the game we haven't seen yet. So him talking to anybody or going into any place in Vermilion City would ruin potential story for everybody. I think that the story is going to end up being very different, but still a touch of the same of what we've witnessed in the first generation, as well as the remakes. So that's all we have time for today. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new. Go ahead and ring that bell if you want notifications of when I upload a video, and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and leave a comment below if there are any features that I forgot to mention today, and also leave a comment on the features that make you the most excited, and the features that you're a little worried about, because I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it all. But yeah, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.